certainly the bye added to their energy level and excitement to play another football game. I think that showed from beginning to end. I think it was a cleanly played football game. A few penalties toward the end, but offensively, I think we had nice balance. Defensively, I think we played well, and special teams-wise, especially our kick coverage unit did a really nice job of keeping the field position in check. And so another solid football game and a chance to improve, which I think we did, and looking forward now to moving forward. So with that, whatever questions anyone has, I'll take them.
Bronco, can you just take us through Riley's injury and then how you thought Jake came in and performed today?
Yeah, Riley's injury is still kind of being assessed as to exactly what it is. And I think he got hit right as he released the ball. I questioned both officials that were responsible. They didn't think it was late. They thought it was right after or right as he released the football. And so he took a solid shot on the touchdown throw. And then Jake came in and I think managed the game well, moved the team well, made a lot of good decisions, and got a lot of quality work. And it was fun to have a chance to get James Lark some work as well.
Was the hit on Nelson, was that on the touchdown pass?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't know if he's the extent of the injury yet?
Not yet. I know that at this point that they were suspecting rib injuries or rib injury, etc. I think that he'll be held in the hospital overnight for all the testing, assessment, etc. And I'll have a great idea probably tomorrow how long he'll be out, and the trainers might know more at this point, but that's what I've been told.
Coach, can you talk about your team's pass defense? At a certain point in the third quarter, Idaho had -6 yards passing.
Well, it just it's hard to score any points, especially when you get a lead in a ball game like this if they can't throw the ball. And so there were a lot of screen attempts that they were throwing, a lot of things underneath, and we had a pretty good plan for that. I don't think they believed their protection would hold for the downfield throws, and so the game just the score got out of hand so fast that they weren't able to really establish kind of the rhythm and balance they were hoping for, I'm sure, and the coverage held and did a really nice job for the majority of the game.
Coach, can you kind of talk about the play of Kyle Van Noy? He had 10 tackles today, a sack. He just seems to get better and better as the season goes on. What's it like having a guy like him on your team, and what's it like to coach him?
He's a student of the game. There was a practice play during this week on Wednesday, and he called out what the play was, and I'm not sure the rest of our staff or anyone else on the team knew what play it was, but he recognized the set, and I was joking with him, like, how'd you know what play? And he goes, Coach, I watch film. I mean, it's what he does. He loves football, and while he has excellent athletic ability, what most people don't know about him is how dedicated he is to really learning what the opponent does. He's not in the right place at the right time by accident. He prepares very, very diligently, as well as anyone that I've known. And he only I don't know how many plays he played, maybe 30 plays tonight, but that's a lot of production in that amount of time.
Coach, you went with a nickel defense for a lot of the night. Joe Sampson with a lot of reps. Can you comment about his play and how the nickel defense?
With Jordan Pendleton out, we've played a lot of nickel this entire year, but it just has looked different because it was an extra linebacker in rather than extra defensive back. And so, in looking at our personnel, we thought that might be a good place for Joe Sampson to fit, and so that's where he played. So he got a lot of work. We'll get a great chance to evaluate it. Certainly by production, it showed well. And so there's quite a bit of shifting and positioning for the next couple of weeks, just as some players are going down with injury.
Coach, with Jake going back in the game, was there a different sense of leadership that he had felt, that he had kind of learned by sitting out? Was there anything different from the beginning of the season?
You know, it's a good question, and I think you'll have to ask him. I think he was hungry, and not to say that he wasn't hungry to lead the team before, but he looked poised to me, and he looked confident, and he looked like he was anxious to reestablish himself. I didn't take a look at what his numbers were, but just in watching his mannerisms and etc., I thought he made good decisions and threw the ball well. So, you know, I had mixed feelings. Just I was thinking, so much of the game about, you know, Riley and trying to get a feedback for what his injury was and how hurt he was, and then trying to watch Jake and encourage him as well. And so, but it seems like he did a nice job.
Coach, with how Jake played in this game, does it change the quarterback battle and your opinion on it? Anything different going to happen with how Jake played in this game?
No, my opinion's the same. We have two excellent quarterbacks, and as I've said many times, I think Jake is an NFL quarterback. Riley has a very unique way to lead the team and his own set of strengths and skill sets, as does Jake. The decision might be made for us just because of injury to Riley at this point, and my biggest concern right now is just finding out exactly what his status is and getting him the right care.
Riley seems to have a pretty high threshold, and he took off that helmet. Could you tell something was pretty wrong, and did he know it right away that something was wrong?
I'm not sure he knew it, or he certainly wouldn't show it. He wouldn't show it to me, if anyone. And he said something to the effect of, "I'll learn sooner or later," which I don't know what that meant, because he didn't run it and try to run over somebody. He's just tough. And so that was just another indication of it.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about Brian Correa? It seems like he never really stands out, but he always manages to get just key production, 2 touchdown runs, but only 35 yards. Is that quite a production for him?
I just love who he is, and when he's running, he's falling forward, and he's getting first downs, and that's what we ask him to do. And to me, it's the critical nature of the runs. There was a run, might have been a 3rd down run or a 4th down, where he was clearly stopped behind the line, spun, pulled a guy with him, got us the first down. Those runs are every bit as important as the long ones. And the combination tonight, in my opinion, of Brian Correa and Mike Elisa, they ran extremely hard and have some similarities in relation to how we use them, where they just seem to make things happen. And so I was impressed by both of them.
Coach, you mentioned that on the hit that took Riley Nelson out of the game, that the referee said it was clean, it was a good hit. Was that something that had happened previously in the game that you were targeting, talking to the referees about late hits?
There was one hit previous to that, and it was so early in the game that it looked like I just wanted to make sure they were protecting the quarterback, and so we had mentioned it after the first hit. But they both said they saw it, and they said it was clean. And so I'll take their word for it. I mean, because again, they both said they had a good view of it.
Cody Hoffman, another big night for you here at BYU. What kind of a find has he been coming from a JUCO and just going forward with this team?
Well, Cody wasn't a junior college player, but he came from a small town, really small town in Northern California, Crescent City. And I think simply, and you have to be looking for Crescent City to find it, and it's a really neat place, but it's way out there. And a former teammate of mine, a track teammate at Oregon State, called me on him, and it was between us and Sacramento State. That was the only interest that he had.
And one more, the chemistry between Heaps and his teammates, is that something that can just come right back, or is it something he needs to work on and still get back?
Oh, I think that chemistry is always something that has to be worked on, because the team is adjusted. If it does become where Riley is out, the team will adjust now back to Jake, and that takes a little time, but the week of practice will help that.
Anything else for Coach?
Houston Reynolds and Mike Haig, I think, both went out. Do you have an update on them?
Houston Reynolds has been fighting and playing with a torn labrum in his shoulder, and whether he damaged that to the point now where he'll have to have surgery to finish the season, I don't know. And Mike Haig, I don't know what he was. He was in a sling in the locker room, and I think he got there was a personal foul on the play that happened on a kick return or a kick cover. He was on a kick return, and it happened, and so the player was penalized for the hit. I didn't see it, but that's the play he was hurt on. Okay, thanks.